That's a game changer right there. And this goes way beyond just doing. Like a lot of times people think like, what do I need to do? What do I need to do in terms of workouts and nutrition? And it's not what you need to do, it's who do you need to become. Like
Yep.
becoming the person who just lives this as a lifestyle, where this is a habit.
Yep.
And that's more of a mindset shift. And I mean, it's the thing about mindset shifts is we can talk about it all day. Like you could take someone who's new and they could intellectually understand it all, like and it makes sense. But until you start embracing it and living it and feeling that change for yourself, instead of just knowing it intellectually, you got to internalize it. And once that happens, that's the game changer. So
Welcome to the Total Fitness Bodybuilding Podcast with Lee Hayward and Jeff Samataro. Since 1997, Lee Hayward's Total Fitness Bodybuilding has been online helping guys to build muscle, lose fat, and become the best version of themselves. The goal of this podcast is to provide you with real-world practical fitness and nutrition advice to look your best, improve your health, and feel confident in your own skin, so you can live life to the fullest without having your body holding you back from doing the things you want to do. So if you're ready to get started, let's jump into the show.
welcome to the Total Fitness Bodybuilding Podcast. My name is Lee Hayward, and in today's episode, you're going to get a replay of a coaching call that I did with some of my Muscle After 40 Blueprint students. And this is something we do every single week. We have a group coaching call where we get to have a good heart-to-heart conversation highlighting what's going well, any challenges we're going through, any questions or concerns, and basically covering the inner game side of fitness and nutrition. Not just the tactical side in terms of, the workouts, the exercises, the sets, the reps, the calories, the macros. I mean, sure, that stuff is important, and we do discuss that. But a lot of times it's more of the inner game side of fitness and humanizing fitness and nutrition. And this is where a lot of people struggle. Just having the best workout program or having the best calorie ratio or macro ratio and stuff like that, that's not what really holds people back. It's how do you take what you know you should do and put it into practice in real life situations. And that's what we really go into detail within our program, is humanizing fitness and nutrition for real world situations. How do you make it work when you're working full time, when you're raising a family, when you've got other responsibilities outside of just going to the gym and working out? How do you make it work in real world situations? And that's what you're going to hear in these group coaching calls. And you're going to get some real world examples from guys who are doing just that. So without further ado, let's jump into the podcast. So guys, we'll kind of do a little roundtable discussion here, just highlighting some wins from the past week. I'll go first. One thing, now I'm getting back into more serious cycling training because I have one of our provincial races coming up now on June 1st. So yesterday I got out for a nice ride. One thing I find with me, and I'm going to share this because I know it's going to relate to a lot of people in general fitness. Each year I go through phases. Like, of course, the summer is peak for cycling, and then in the winter, even though I still keep active with it, there's a natural dip. So it's kind of like this seasons. Like I peak throughout the summer, then coming into the late fall, that's when I'm at my best after all the summer, and then of course over the winter and that it kind of, even though I'm not stopping, it goes through a cycle where my fitness declines a little bit and then I try to build it back up in the spring. And I've noticed that now over the last several years. So like yesterday, I did a 100-kilometer ride, modest ride for me. I mean, and it wasn't pushing the pace, but I felt tired. Like that was a challenging ride. I felt it. And I'm not alarmed by that. I know that as I build up my stamina, as I build up my conditioning, that's going to improve. And eventually those rides like that, I'll be able to bang them out with higher power, feeling stronger and not feeling beat up or tired afterwards. And this is something we can kind of relate to with our own fitness, whether that's gym workouts or any type of athletic training. You're going to find that you're going to go through fluctuations. In Mike's case, and Mike Brown especially, like you're getting ready for a bodybuilding competition again. And the more times you do this, you're going to learn how your body responds. Like the first time through, it's all a learning curve. Like how is this going to respond? What's going to work? What's not going to work? How long do you need to peak? you're going to go through your peak. You're going to, you're going to come back down to a more manageable routine afterwards. And you're going to start to learn the cycle of how the body goes through the ups and downs. Even though it's not like you're stopping training, it's going to go through fluctuations where your strength and energy is going to be higher, your conditioning is going to be better or worse. Like there's going to be all those fluctuations. And I can see that with my own training, those fluctuations happening. And I just want to acknowledge it because you don't need to be alarmed by it. Like some people, when they see, oh my God, my strength is down or my stamina is down, and they start to freak out. You kind of have to just, that's okay, right? It's almost like the seasons of the year. You got in the spring, things are starting to grow. In the summer, that's the peak. In the fall, that's the harvest. That's usually when the peak of the summer, you harvest it in the fall, and then the winter, that's the downtime, and you start the whole cycle all over again. And I've heard a lot of old school bodybuilders referring to their bodybuilding training just like the seasons of the year. You're going to go through those fluctuations. It's not always just this linear shot of progress. And sometimes we want that linear progress, but it doesn't always happen that way. But when you are getting the progress, ride that wave of momentum for what it's worth, but realize it's going to have its ups and downs and dips. And that's okay. That's part of the process. With that being said, can anybody relate to that? The ups and downs and the fluctuations, right? I just wanted to share that. And right now, I know Andy, he was sharing with me through Facebook Messenger that he's kind of on a roll now, making some really good progress, especially with his weight loss. And when you get those bursts of progress, like it's happening like week after week after week, you're seeing the measurable changes. Ride that wave of momentum. I mean, like pat yourself on the back, like, hey, keep it going. But don't let your highs get too high and then don't let your lows get too low. Kind of have that level-headed mentality. Know that, hey, I'm going to ride this wave of momentum for what it's worth, but it's not going to last forever. Vice versa, when you're going through a shitty phase and things like, man, this sucks, it's not going to last forever, right? Like the highs are going to come down and the lows are going to come up, right? So, Andy, do you want to just share that scene? I kind of introduced you there. Like, share some of the progress you've been making, your fat loss and weight loss.
Pretty dialed in right now. So I've been doing my weight training schedule. So it's the schedule that Lee made for me. And then I've been doing cardio 40 minutes on my off days. And I have my diet where I'm having at least one big salad a day. I'm getting in like an apple a day. And then I'm getting in protein powder to top off in the evenings if I'm a little bit short. But I try to stick to the 3-portion system between your protein, vegetables and carbs, and it's working great. Like right now I'm doing about a pound a week now, and I started this new job and it's extra movement during the day. It's more physical. So like last week, throughout the week, I did a ton of extra moving around, which is outside of my norm. It seemed to have accelerated everything else. And yeah, at the end of the day, after doing my workout, I was a bit tired, but it's nothing that I couldn't handle myself. So it's a little bit more challenging, but the results are showing for themselves. Like a pound a week is like awesome. I was surprised when I weighed myself yesterday. I'm on the right track, and it's really good. It's laid out really well.
That is excellent progress for sure. Like, especially once you're beyond the initial newbie weight gain. Because like when somebody's just like eating whatever the hell they want, no exercise, just there's no plan in place. Once they just start doing something, the weight usually just starts to fall off. And a lot of it is water retention and bloat and just getting all the toxins and the crap out of your system. And that's where you see
100%.
people lose 10 pounds in the first 2 weeks. And like, oh, this is awesome. I lost 10 pounds in the first 2 weeks. And they start doing the math and saying, oh, well, by this time next month, I'll hit my weight goal. And then
Yeah.
then it just, woof, right? The progress slows down to a snail's pace. What was, 10 pounds in the first 2 weeks is now, hey, I'm only losing a pound a week or not even losing a pound a week. What the hell's wrong here, right?
Well, when I joined up with your program I was stuck at 240 and I
Oh,
couldn't get any lower. And I was plateaued. That's kind of why I reached out.
mhm.
And I'm like, okay, I am a newbie. Like, yeah, I've been doing it for a couple of years, but I'm just feeling my way in the dark. Like I got a blindfold on, just trying something for a couple weeks and see if it sticks to the wall, see if it works there. So you're just throwing spaghetti at the wall. But that's what one of the main incentives to join was, because I know that Bruce, a person I grew up with, he went through your program, and he recommended you, and I just wanted something that was proven, effective, and the results show for themselves. So,
Well, thanks for sharing that, Andy. That was awesome. And I know we got Derek joining in, and I was actually had a quick chat with Derek earlier today. How are things going? Nice to see you joining into the group call.
Yeah, it's good to be here. It's I live in Los Angeles, so it's 3 o'clock here, and sometimes it's the middle of the day, so it's kind of really hard to make this call sometimes. But today it worked out, and yeah, things are going good. I've been doing the return to prime workout, and I'm on finishing phase 3, and it's crazy because you go to the gym. I don't know if anybody else here is familiar with it, but like phase 3 is just like these stretch holds basically with weights. So I might do like a dumbbell fly and just hold it out on the completely stretched position for like a minute, increasing weight every week. It's pretty intense. But I'm getting ready for phase 4. I have like 3 more workouts for phase 3, and then I'm moving into phase 4. But I think I'm gonna kind of just do the 3 over this week and then start phase 4 next week.
The whole return to prime, that's a program that a friend of mine, Nick Nilsson, put together, and we actually did a podcast a couple months ago, I guess it is now, talking about that program. And after that podcast, that would kind of intrigued Derek to want to give this a shot, because it's a totally unique approach. And if you're not familiar with Nick, he's got a unique approach about his training. Like he works out in a home gym, very crude, and he calls himself the mad scientist of muscle, and that's kind of like a nickname that he's accumulated over the years there. But he has some unique training methods, and the guy is in incredible shape, right? Like here he is now, I think he's early 50s, and some of the strength feats that he does is just off the charts. And unique movements, like one that he's doing now, he's does a lot of heavy lockout work in the power rack, for example, and holding like 1,000 pounds on his back locked out and holding that for time under tension. Like it's crazy. Like, and he's even practicing like walking back and forth with like that kind of weight on his back, just to build up the joints, the tendons, and the connective tissue. And there's a lot of unique stuff. So what Derek was talking about there right now, we're doing the stretching with weights, basically, right? So just talk about that. Like how are those workouts going for you right now?
Yeah, they're good. When I start a new phase, and this is phase 3, it's like the new phase is so hard. Like after the first workout, I'm sore for like even the whole rest of the week. I'm sore from just the first workout. It's funny because these workouts are like totally different than anything I've ever done. Like you said, it's mostly like the first 2 phases are pretty much lockout holds, and you're just holding the weight. You're just standing with heavy weight on your back. You're doing the squats. I feel like everyone's looking at me in the gym like, what the heck is this guy doing?
Yeah.
But it's different, and I like doing something different. And I think I'm really gonna really enjoy getting back to like a quote unquote normal workout once I'm done with this.
That's what you'll find is the strength you build through this is going to carry over into your normal workouts, if you will. Like when you start doing regular gym exercises, full range of motion, everything else, the joint, tendon, and ligament strength that you've built through this type of training is going to really help to carry over to that. And I'm just going to share my screen here just to kind of show you what I'm talking about. This is the Return to Prime program. If any of you guys, like, you're looking for something unique and you'd like to try something different, this is an option we can certainly go into. But let me just, like, this is Nick right here. He's 50 years old now, lifetime natural lifter. I mean, and he's just brutally strong guy, right? And he has this program, like I say, I mean, it goes into a lot of detail here, but I just want to, I could actually go in on his Instagram, for example, and show some stuff. But crazy lockout holds that he does, and some of the different weighted carry exercises and that. Like he'll do some combination work, for example, farmer's walks. I mean, he's done that with like 500 plus pounds and stuff like that. Like it's just crazy stuff. Just insane, just building that kind of raw brute strength. And he's for real. Like I've met Nick in person. We've trained together before, and like he's the real deal. He's like one of these guys. He goes under the radar because you see him. I mean, yeah, he looks fit, but you don't realize like how freaking strong he is. And if anybody's ever tried lockout work, like I've done it before in the past when I was powerlifting, and I remember the most that I've ever supported on my back in a lockout was like 700 pounds in a power rack squat lockout. And that felt bone crushing to me. And to think that he's doing that with like 300 plus more pounds and holding that for time under tension, and that is like mind blown, right? It's just crazy. And to be doing that at 50 years old, right? Now I know there's guys here older than that, but still, the older your body gets, the the more those weights feel heavier. Put it that way.
I watched that workout that he was doing there, and it's like my back was hurting just watching that video.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and I watch his demo videos when I'm getting ready to do the workouts, and like his easy warm up is like hard for me. Like
Right.
that's like might be my heavy if I'm lucky.
Yeah, his warm up would be most people's max for sure.
Yeah.
Right. But again, if something you're interested in looking into, like that's another option if you really want to think outside the box. And I wanted to share that because like Derek's been going through this for quite a while now. I mean, like, gee whiz, when did we first meet up, Derek?
Yeah, whenever you did the podcast, so like in January, I think.
But no, that was the Return to Prime. But like, when did you start your fitness journey? I mean,
2019.
2019, right? So we've been together for quite a while, right? I mean, so that's what like he's gone through the traditional bro split workouts and the total body workouts and the body part split workouts. So like we're thinking, this is thinking outside the box workouts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is where this comes into play. And there's always another level, right? That's the cool thing about this, because a lot of times people, oh, I know what to do. I got it all figured out. There's always another level. The minute you think you got it figured out, then all of a sudden, you might see someone else do something and it's like, whoa, okay, that's totally unique. And again, you can listen to that podcast we did with Nick. You can just scroll through the podcasts and see it. I'd recommend checking it out on YouTube because there's a lot of visuals where I show some of the demos, exercises that he does. And again, even with 30 plus years of fitness experience and working as a coach, my mind was being stretched because I'm like, I've never even considered this stuff before, right? Like just totally outside the box thinking. But again, it's a great way to spur on some new growth and just to add that extra enthusiasm for your training again. Because sometimes you get caught in a rut, like, oh, this is getting boring. It's the same old, same old. But then if you can totally change it up and just be excited about your workouts again, that might spur on new growth. And who else we got? We got Jerren joining in. Hey, Jerren, how's it going?
It's going good. As you know, I just reached the end of the PN coaching this week. So that was huge. And yeah. And overall, I would say that, it's just been great because I've made good progress. I've lost weight. I started about at 260. And I'm like I was 230s, but now I'm like around you fluctuate. I'm like 240 right now.
Okay.
So, but I've increased my strength. And I think the biggest thing since I started the program was just I'm now in the habit of working out. I feel like I haven't been in the habit of working out since, well, before I had kids, was like 10 years ago. So now it's like I look forward to working out. I look forward to going to the gym, or if I can't go to the gym, to go in the garage and just do something. Like I can't go a week anymore without doing nothing. I feel like something's wrong. So that's the biggest thing from it. I think just, building their lifetime habits.
That's a game changer right there. And this goes way beyond just doing. Like a lot of times people think like, what do I need to do? What do I need to do in terms of workouts and nutrition? And it's not what you need to do, it's who do you need to become. Like becoming the person who just lives this as a lifestyle, where this is a habit. And that's more of a mindset shift. And I mean, it's the thing about mindset shifts is we can talk about it all day. Like you could take someone who's new and they could intellectually understand it all, like and it makes sense. But until you start embracing it and living it and feeling that change for yourself, you got to internalize it. That's what I guess you should say. And instead of just knowing it intellectually, you got to internalize it. And once that happens, that's the game changer,
Yeah.
right? Like I know I'm never going to be fat again. I just know that. Like that's not going to happen. I'm not going to be 240 plus pounds with a belly sticking out further than my chest. Like it ain't going to happen. I just because that's not me anymore. I can see that. Whereas in the past, it was always on and off again. Like, okay, I'm on a cutting diet, and then I'm not on a diet. Oh shit, I'm slipping. I'm getting fat again. Oh, I got to go on another diet. Right? Like it's always focusing on what you need to do versus being the person who just this is who you are. Right? There is no other option. Right? So that's a big one. And precision nutrition does a good job of developing that, but you got to work the program, right? You got to embrace it and let it transform happen inside.
Right.
So
I did want
go ahead. Yeah.
to ask about like when you first begin lifting weights, you have to do a warm up. I
Hmm.
noticed that now, like nowadays, it seems as if I am a little bit more sore, not only right after I work out, but even during a workout. Like my pecs may be a little bit more sore. I don't know if I need to increase more protein in my diet, or if now that I'm getting older, I need to have more of a warm up before I start lifting heavy. Back in my 20s, when I was like you remember, I was like working out all the time. I would just, and if I had a chest day, I would just do maybe a light warm up set, maybe one, and then I was ready to go. You know. But I don't know if now I'm at the point where I need to do more than that, stretching beforehand. So I'm wondering if you've noticed that as you've gotten older that you've had to change your warm ups before lifting heavy, or to deal with soreness and that sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something I've certainly have to be more cautious of this because again, like you mentioned, when you're younger, you can get away. Like sometimes you don't even need a warm up.
You don't even need it.
Jump in to start lifting. Now, when I go to the gym, I'm usually doing minimum 5 minutes of cardio, sometimes 10, depending on, I just want to get my core temperature elevated, kind of just get my body physically warmed up. And then I always do some mobility work, arm circles, rotator cuff rotations, deep knee bends, trunk rotations, hip circles. Like I just take all the major joints of the body and kind of like do some warming up for them. And then indirectly, that's also stretching the muscles and everything in between.
Like dynamic type stretching.
Yeah, like arm circles, like just literally going through arm circles. I'll even do like chest flies like this, just kind of warm up those, do them diagonally, do them all different. Rotator cuff rotations, just to warm up that rotator cuff. Trunk twist where going side to side, hip circles and stuff, and then deep knee bends and body weight squats. Like I do all that. Sure, it adds, an extra 5+ minutes to your workout or whatever, but I need that just to get all the kinks out. And I find like as I'm doing that, like I might feel, oh, my shoulder just cracked or my knees cracked, almost like cracking your knuckles, like everything gets loose and limber then. And then when I get to the actual exercises, I'll still do the progressively heavier warm-up sets. So like squatting the empty barbell, that's the set number one, or even bench pressing the empty barbell, and just progressively heavier warm-up sets. I need to do that a lot more now than I did. And even now, like when I'm coaching some younger people, like I got some one-on-one students that I work with in the gym, and like I don't want to waste their time, but like I can just tell like these younger guys like who are in their 20s and 30s, they don't need that prolonged warm up that I do, right? And they're getting bored, right? Like if I take them through the full warm up routine, like just let's get into it. And I'm trying to teach them like you still need to warm up. Now, granted, I won't elaborate it like I will for myself, but because I'm in tune with my body to the point where I know I need this, and if something doesn't feel right, I'll even do it longer, right? Do more of that. But yeah, you definitely need that. So you're not alone with that one. And anybody else want to elaborate on warm-up routines
I
or
do.
noticing the change?
I'd like to add something.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's not just warm-ups, I think, before you work out. I think stretching and mobility work, especially when you're getting older, is some of the most important work exercises you can do. I try to do yoga every day if I can. I don't get it every day, but I get it at least 5 days a week. I just do a 15-minute practice, and I find it on YouTube. I really like this Sarah Beth yoga because she talks over. It's a talk over while she's doing it instead of trying to do whatever the pose and talking at the same time. So it kind of flows a little better. At least some of her older stuff is. And she has like 10 and 15-minute yoga practices that I can just do really quickly. And I just feel like as we're getting older, we really need to step into, we need to be more careful and we need to keep moving our bodies because the difference between the human body and a machine is the machine, the more you use it, the more it's going to break down. But the human body, the more you use it, the better it gets. Yeah. So I think the more we move our body, the more we're kind of oiling it up and greasing it up and getting it ready for these bigger movements that we're going to do in the gym.
Thanks for sharing that. Is this who you're talking about? Sarah Beth Yoga? Is that her there?
Yeah, that's her. Hey, there's tons of yoga online, so I'm not saying you should use her or you shouldn't. I just find somebody you like and use it.
She's got 1.8 million subscribers, so I mean, obviously she's quite popular. I mean,
I want to add that also yoga is good for helping develop that mind-body connection. So
yeah,
it's really important. Which is another thing that'll help you when you're working out with weights.
And yoga's not an easy workout. Like I know some guys at the gym thinking, "Oh, yoga, that's for sissies." I'm gonna lift weights. That's hardcore. And then you get someone who might be able to squat 4 plates aside. Okay, try to hold a warrior pose, and they're shaking like a leaf and ready to topple over because they don't have the balance and the stability, it's just some of these poses are. Try to do a proper downward dog. I mean, they're all crumpled over and, can't straighten out. So it's not a sissy workout. Like sometimes it's very freaking challenging, but it does pay off. I mean, I have to agree. When I focus on stretching, mobility, and yoga exercises, it's just like it fills in all those gaps. Whereas if you're just focusing on endurance or strength, or these other areas, like there's always these gaps, but yoga kind of like fills in those gaps. I find it's very complementary. So that would help with the whole mobility and functionality aspect of it as well. Scott, did you have something you wanted to share?
Yeah, because other than Mike, I'm up there in years, and I'm just laughing because within the context of your age, my brain always thinks I'm 10 to 20 years younger. But you got to look at the data that shows what really happens in your age group and pay attention to it, because really I'm in my late 60s now. And I've done challenges and just get in shape, and I've done marathon. So my brain goes back to, give me 3 months, I'll do it. No, bam, ripped out my shoulder. And then I realized, wait, I threw out my shoulder in Little League baseball. That's how far back that goes. And I always thought, and what happens is you don't use it that much. And I just learned that over time, I got used to never throwing really hard because I knew it would hurt. But here I am lifting, doing shoulder presses as if that shouldn't do anything, or chest presses. And then bam, I had my injury. So I have to think of it more like I'm just grateful that I can even do what I'm doing. But I know I would have complained in my 40s about, I'm in my 40s. But in your 60s, so there was a guy that came into the gym Friday, which it's pretty dead. The real trainers are not there. And this guy was in a walker, like he was going to fall over, and he's on his own. And you can see the staff is just freaking out. And he climbs and plops into the clamshell leg press, and he does his little workout, and now he's stuck. He can't get out. There's 3 of us trying to help him out. And this poor gal, we all help him out. And he's just smiling, like off to the next thing. It takes him 10 minutes to get to the next machine. And we're just thinking he's going to fall and kill himself. But I had to smile because he didn't care. He's doing what he wants to do. But he'll probably die trying to do it. But she kept saying, you got to have someone with you. You just can't do this. And I just smiled because I thought that could be me in the future if I don't do mobility. And the thing I've learned is I'm only going to do what I really want to do. And that's been my problem. So, yoga in the past, I tried some of those and I was too stiff. I can do the tree pose, but that's about it. I can't do these back bends. And so I just would chuck it. But just doing a little bit, it becomes more important as you're older if you want to keep working out. Like, okay, squats. So I'm so happy I'm actually doing squats. I'm so embarrassed at the weight I've got on my bar, but I don't care because for the first time, I'm doing them right. And I'm not going for pushing heavier and all that. And I have to start with a bar just to get down into a position where I'm getting better mobility, getting better stretch. My ankle is really tight. I'm getting a little more mobility there, but I only have a pair of 45s as I work up just to put the 45s on. But the next day afterwards, I feel it in my legs, my butt. I used to feel it in my back all the time, not what I was trying to exercise. So whatever it takes to not let your ego get ahead of you, especially when you're older. And you shouldn't care when you're older, but I still do. I don't know.
But I can appreciate that. I mean, like I'm the same way. Like I'm not lifting heavy weight, and when I compare what I used to lift to what I'm lifting now, I mean it's a joke, right? But still, I'm enjoying it, and I'm healthier now, and I'm not risking the injury. And another thing you got to factor in too, like a lot of that strength that you see young people lifting in the gym, it's not necessarily muscular strength. A lot of it's because they've got healthy joints, tendons, and ligaments, and it's the tendons can support that weight, but it's not necessarily the muscular strength, right? Because I find when I go heavy, like I feel it in the joints. Whereas younger people, when I'm coaching them, like I'm like, does that bother your knees at all? Does that bother your shoulders? Oh no, I don't feel anything. I think that's the beauty of youthful joints, right?
Food. I'm starting to pay attention to how I feel after certain foods. I'm starting to realize you don't have to. I thought it was normal to have upset stomach or bloating or irregular bowel, and I'm starting to, because of precision nutrition, I'm starting to like learn, wait, that's because I sit around all day and do nothing until I go work out. If I start moving, this stuff gets processed better, doesn't sit in my stomach. I'm learning a lot through just experimenting with lots of things I've never really paid, I'm just paying attention more and more aware of how my body's responding to stuff rather than I got to get through the routine. I got to check that off.
Hmm. Has anybody else noticed that? Like any foods that you know that your body can or can't tolerate well? Like you just learned that through precision nutrition or just through experimentation? Like, I know with me, fast food or greasy food and stuff like that, that doesn't sit well. You might justify and say, oh, it tastes really good, but how do you feel afterwards? And what I have my brain wired up now is, for example, like if McDonald's or like burgers and greasy stuff like that, I just know I'm going to feel like crap afterwards. So I kind of wire that in my mind, like I'm going to feel like crap afterwards. I don't want that crap now. Whereas I know a lot of people, they still, oh, but it's going to taste so good. I don't care how I feel afterwards, right? Like I want to get drunk. I know I'm going to have a hangover tomorrow, but I'm getting drunk tonight because it's going to feel good tonight. Like whereas I'm wired to think it's not worth the pain that I'm going to feel the next day, right? So same idea here. And I find like if you can link that up, that really can help you make better choices. But is there any like examples anyone want to share about like their of foods that they know they can or can't tolerate? Again, I refer to McDonald's now as Rotten Ronnie's, right? I can't eat that, and I just know it ain't gonna sit well.
I know there's that. I always justify, what is it, Taliente or something? Is a certain type of ice cream it's a smaller container. It is
Mhm.
rich, it is good, and there's always a sale on it, every 2 for 1 or whatever. And I fricking stand in front of that thing and stare it down. And then I finally go, Scott, if you try to do your 10,000 steps, you're going to be doing snot rockets more than you want tomorrow, you know?
Really?
Yeah. So I learned the dairy, I guess, even when I used to run, no one would want to run with me because I just like, bleh, and even on a treadmill in the gym, I have to be careful or I'm going to be snotting all over the place. So I don't know what my system is doing and what I'm doing, but I'm assuming it's dairy related. Um, I don't know, but I definitely know certain things. Pizza will conk me out. Um, but I do have these stare down matches all the time at the grocery store.
Stare down at you.
I'm always happy when I move on by. If I actually, the other thing is I go to this one register with this gal, she kind of knows me when I'm pigging out or when I'm healthy because all vegetables in one day and the next day it's ice cream and crap. And so she'll look at me and go, yeah, it's one of those nights. So sometimes I feel like I'm going to go to another register if I feel guilty. But I pay attention to all that stuff. Like, dang, I feel like I'm doing a drug deal or something, you know? But the fact that I'm even thinking that way cracks me up because I'm at least paying attention and trying to deal with it. And the good thing is, I am so much better at eating healthy most of the time. And like you said, the crap some of the time. And I'm getting better at the crap that I choose to choose better crap.
Choose better crap. Yeah, that's the lesson of the night here, folks. Choose better crap. I'd like to see the security camera footage of Scott staring down the ice cream in the cooler. People are like, what the hell is this guy doing?
I'm looking at how much sugar's in that ice cream versus that ice cream. I go, what are you doing? Come on. Because I'm going to eat the whole thing. It's kind of like my dad used to have the Neapolitan ice cream. I think you've shared all that kind of stuff where my dad'd be on the Weight Watchers diet and then I'd go to get ice cream because he said, oh, you guys can, because we're like, Dad, we have to eat chicken and crap. Like we're kids, so let us eat. And so you go, oh, you can have ice cream, whatever. So I'd go get the ice cream and of course all the strawberry would be gone because I know my dad's eating at night, So it plagues everyone, I know.
Yeah, it does. Oh yeah. I mean, I'm not immune to that by any stretch. I can certainly appreciate that. Yeah. One thing that I would like to cover here, and this is going to be very helpful, and this is for Mike Mozak. He sent me an email there a couple days ago. Or just wanted to kind of go into more detail about the new training program and kind of like busting through fat loss plateaus. Mike, is it okay with you if I share that email just so we can go through it?
Sure. No problem.
You're cool with that because I know it's one thing here. You were talking about you wanted to change up your workout plan and you gave some suggestions, but you said the weight doesn't seem to be changing much. It's up and down, but on average stayed pretty much the same. Now, that being said, feel pretty good. I'm enjoying the process. Concerned that the weight is changing, but not panicking as I think my diet can be better. The habit of snacking you're trying to curb. Okay, so I just wanted to touch on that. When it comes to our nutrition, when we're on, most people have no trouble with their diets when they're on. Like, okay, the diet's clean, the calories are in check, everything else. But it's when we fall off the rails a little bit. Like Scott was just explaining there, like, when he's on and he's going to the cash register and he's feeling proud about his shopping cart because he's putting up his protein and his veggies and his healthy foods, or then he's, going in with a hoodie on and sunglasses, like, don't look at me while I'm putting on, right, the tubs of ice cream and the cookies on the conveyor belt there, right? So when you're on, it's fine. And then when you're off, that's when things go off the rails. And the problem here is a lot of times people think, well, I need to make my on even stricter, right? I need to go even lower in calories, tighter and harder, when we just really need to minimize the screw ups, if that makes sense. So instead of trying to be, oh, I'm trying to eat 2,000 calories, for example, and it's not working, well, I'm going to go down to 1,500 calories. No, maybe we still keep to that 2,000 calories or whatever your target calorie happens to be, and just less deviations, less detours off the track, if you will. And I think that's where the biggest changes can be made versus trying to go too strict. Because what happens when you go too strict? Let's say, oh, I'm dieting on 2,000 calories, but it's not working. Sure, I'm not perfect all the time, but I'm good enough. And then if you try to go to 1500 calories, then what's going to end up happening is you're more tempted then to fall off track. So this is where like a lot of people can really screw things up. You know, like in this case, you know, they're dieting on 1800 calories a day, right? On. Then the weekend rolls around, blow it. Then back on the diet again. You're just canceling out your deficit, right? And if your weight is staying the same, you're probably doing some variation of this. And we don't need to tighten up when you're on. We just need to minimize the damage of when you're off. Right? Like, does that make sense? Right? Can anybody relate to that or want to share any comments about that?
No, that's exactly what's going on.
Okay.
It's not more restricting the calories, it's more making sure that I'm eating that those calories are not going over.
Mm-hmm.
I find that breakfast and lunch is simple, that's easy. It's between noon and 5 o'clock. If I don't have food in there, that I overeat in the evening because I'm more hungry and I work out in the evening. So that's kind of where it all falls apart.
Yeah. We need to have some strategies and develop some new habits of how to tackle the evenings. But I'm just going to use myself as an example. Like when I was getting ready for my the last time I competed in bodybuilding, when I made the comeback in the Masters over 40 division, I knew the evenings, especially as I was getting leaner, it was getting very hard to control my appetite in the evening. That was the danger zone, if you will. So what I did to prepare for that, when I was having supper, right, we'd make our evening meal, and right then I would mix up some sugar-free Jello, and I'd have a full bowl, like a full packet of sugar-free Jello. I'd put in some frozen berries in with it, and I put that in the refrigerator. So I'd say, by the time, 9, 10 o'clock at night rolls around, that sugar-free Jello is going to be ready. And that would be my bedtime snack, right? So I'd have this big bowl of sugar-free Jello. Now there's zero nutritional value. It's just artificial sweeteners. I mean, from all the aspartame health gurus who think, artificial sweeteners are going to kill you, they would have a field day with this. But it allowed me to fill up my pie hole and make it feel like I was eating sweets and getting a lot of eating consumption with hardly any calories. Because there's like 40 calories in a packet of sugar-free Jello, but you got this big, massive bowl of Jello. And then I'd have some frozen berries. And what I would also put in is maybe some fat-free cottage cheese or fat-free Greek yogurt. So it'd feel like I'm eating this massive bowl of dessert. And I would eat that every evening before bed. And I'd be like, oh my God, I'm stuffed, maybe like 100 to 200 calories max, but it felt like I was cheating, right? So I'd have this big bowl of sweet. And that was enough to get that craving out of my system and minimize that temptation. And I did that. So like for the last, I'd say for the last 6 weeks before my show, there was a bowl of sugar-free Jello devoured every night. But that's what kept me on track, right? It minimized that temptation of like, oh, well, what am I going to eat? Or rummage through the cupboard. And, Harvey got these little school snacks or goldfish crackers or whatever shit that's rummaging around the house that you would find yourself digging into. I said, no, I got my sugar-free Jello and my berries and cottage cheese. I'm good. That's my treat. If I really wanted something else, then I'd have a bowl of air pop popcorn with it as well. Right. So like I had that planned out in advance. So that took care of those evening snacks. Because instead of trying to willpower it and say, oh, no snacks, no snacks, no snacks, tough it out, I just made better snack choices that fit my goals. Like, because I wanted to keep the calories in check. So I had super low calorie snacks, but they were very filling. That's how I got around it. I don't want you to go into the willpower deprivation phase where you're like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Like, just find a way that works. Right. So like in your case now, Mike Mozak, like, what could you do? Hopefully this is kind of getting your gears grinding. First off, what are you doing now? And what could we do better?
Right now, just gut it out with willpower.
Okay.
Accepting that there's going to be some hunger associated with the evenings. It's rummaging through the house. Like, there's abundance of fruit in the house. There's abundance of vegetables, but those aren't what I go to.
Right.
It's the chips or the cookies, or just because I have to have that salt in the evening. So like it's just a mindset thing with me. It's just I think it's because all day you try to do so well, and then the evening is just like, it's 8 o'clock at night, tired. You just reach for whatever's convenient. Even though cutting up an apple is not that inconvenient, it's just in your mind it is, right? So
Hey, one thing that I've done, because I have this, I count my wins. Like if I don't buy the freaking bag of chips, just I'm a howling success because I want to. Once again, I do these stare downs with chips. But I found the other day I was really wanting chips, and I ate pickles, and they were salty and crunchy, and kind of gave me a little bit of that deal. But I can't imagine myself going through a whole pickle jar like I would chips.
yeah.
But those are low calorie. I don't know if you like pickles or not, but.
Yeah, I don't mind pickles.
But yeah, I won't eat veggies either when I'm feeling that way.
There's always something better to eat. That's the problem.
This is where you got to plan in advance. Like I mentioned, when I was making that sugar-free Jello dessert, I always made it like as soon as we were cleaning up from dinner, that's when I would make it. So I wasn't even physically hungry then, but I said like I got to make this now because I know I'm going to be hungry later. And if I don't do anything and I just wait till later, well, this Jello is not going to be ready, and I'm going to be tempted to start rummaging through the cupboards to find something to fill that void and probably make some not so good decisions. So I purposely planned in advance to have that because I just knew I'm a creature of habit. I'm going to be hungry later at night. I got to have something. And the something actually served me in a way because it was not only getting the sugar-free Jello, but like I mentioned, I also put in the frozen berries, which added some extra flavor. And of course, you're getting the nutrients from the mixed berries, there's blackberries and raspberries and blueberries. So you're getting some antioxidants and fiber from that. The cottage cheese was giving me some extra protein along with it. So, I mean, it was still getting some nutrient value from it, in addition to, stuffing my pie hole with a lot of volume, right? That was the key. For the salty cravings, one that I found helpful, make a big bowl of air pop popcorn and sprinkle on some vinegar, like malt vinegar or whatever, and then sprinkle on a little bit of sea salt. And the sprinkle of malt vinegar helps the sea salt actually stick to the air pop popcorn, because that is this was actually a trick that one of my personal training clients told me about at the gym, because I recommended the air pop popcorn. He says the problem with that, if you put any seasoning on it, it just all falls to the bottom of the bowl because the popcorn's dry, the seasoning doesn't stick to it. You need butter on that stuff in order for the seasoning to stick, right? And then he said, well, what he did was just sprinkle on a little bit of vinegar. And then the vinegar moistened the popcorn, the salt stuck to it, and he was getting these salt and vinegar popcorn. And I mean, it was very, a great salty snack. So, I mean, it feels like you were cheating, but I mean, very low calories because air pop popcorn, I mean, is super low in calorie. And if you're sodium sensitive, maybe you could use like some low sodium seasoning instead, like maybe a salt alternative or whatever that still give you that salty taste that you might be craving. But salt and vinegar, popcorn actually is a nice little movie snack. Have that with a sparkling water, something, or a 0-calorie soda. I mean, that could be a movie night snack right there. That's quite tasty. So, just
My
want to kind of,
strategy here, if I can cut in for a second.
yeah, go ahead.
My strategy is I usually have a decent sized meal for dinner, and then I know I'm going to be hungry, so I always plan. I use a big bowl, and I do a cup of Greek yogurt with protein powder, and then I use PB and me in there, and that
Nice.
adds a really nice texture, and I really like it. I enjoy it, and I have it most nights, and that gives that craving. It's out of there. It's good to
And
go.
what is that, like 300 calories? Maybe less than
Yeah,
that.
and you got a ton of protein, so it's like a top up at the end of the day. So if I need to make up like 50 to 75 grams of protein, I just do my scoops varyingly, and then I can get my protein in for the end of the day.
Awesome. Yeah, that's another, like, that's a win-win because you're getting the craving satisfied plus you're meeting your protein intake needs. Like, I would actually rather you do that, what Andy just suggested, versus, oh, I'm just going to willpower it out. I'm not going to eat anything. And then not only are you not hitting your protein targets and you're you're relying on willpower because you're hungry, but I'm not letting myself eat because I'm not supposed to. That only lasts so long, right? You might go a few days in a row, maybe you go a few weeks in a row, but eventually you're just going to say, screw it. In a moment of weakness, you're going to give in, and it could be bad. I would just say that, right? It could be bad. You could be raiding the refrigerator. You could be calling up DoorDash and getting stuff that shouldn't be delivered to your house delivered. Who knows? Right? Things could go wrong very quickly. And everybody has their level of willpower, in a moment of weakness, right? Like even Mike Brown's been known to eat a pound of toffee in a moment of weakness. Right? With that being said, how are things going with you, Mike? Mike Brown? You're in a diet phase now.
Yeah. Workouts are going great. I'm
Yeah.
happy with that. I like what I see in the mirror. I'm completely frustrated with my body. One day I feel great. The next day I feel like shit for no apparent reason. One day the blood pressure's up. One day it's down. No apparent reason. Today I'm in the middle of doing dips and my nose starts bleeding all over the floor for no reason.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's super frustrating. And I finally realized, because it's all stuff I can't control. I can control the workouts. I can control the posing practice. I can't control the blood pressure. I can't control suddenly having a nosebleed. And it's super frustrating. I just can't get my head into it, and having it be frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Some days, the one day, all of a sudden I'm winded during my workout. I can't catch my breath. And the next day it's fine. And then you also have to realize it was 5 months ago I had a heart attack. Maybe there were some more lasting things there than I want to admit or thought about. We'll see what the doctor says when I go back to the cardiologist in July or June, whichever it is.
So you do have an appointment fairly soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The contest prep, that's fine. That's all going fine. We start cutting carbs a week from tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
We've already cut carbs once, and I've been at the same level for about 3 weeks. And then we're going to cut out the carbs from meal 4, starting a week from tomorrow. And we'll see what happens.
So what's your weight now?
I was 172 or 173 this morning.
Okay. And just to put it in perspective, like where were you when you competed last year?
163.
Now, was that stage weight, like after cutting water and everything else?
Yeah, that was at check-in.
Right.
Or what it was. I didn't have a scale with me at the hotel, but that was a check-in. I was at 163.
Do you know what you were like the week prior to that, approximately? Because water weight is always a few pounds or more of.
Yeah, it's funny. I didn't lose a whole lot of weight last year during the cut.
Okay.
Let me see. I can pull it up here.
That's a key when anyone's going through bodybuilding contest preps. Like, always use your previous one as a guideline, because obviously you're going to shoot for getting down around the same weight. Maybe you'll be a little heavier if you got some more muscle built, but you're still going to be very close to the same weight. Just hopefully improving the quality, the definition, the muscularity at that weight.
Yeah. So like the show last year was October 2nd. October 21st, I was 158 or 158 and a half. And it went down as low as 58.3, then up to 157, and it gradually creeped up. October 30th, it was 160. The 31st, it was 163, and then by the show, it stayed at 163.
So you were actually gaining weight into the show, because you got to realize in Mike's situation, like he started dieting way early, which you know what, for someone doing their first show, I would recommend that. Like, and this was actually a strategy that a lot of top level bodybuilders started using, is instead of trying to diet to the show, you want to like over diet before the show, and then you can eat your way back up and fill out your frame so you're coming into the show full with more glycogen and more muscle fullness versus coming into the show depleted.
Yeah, it's, that it made sense to me because we didn't know how my body would react.
So you tried something different this time around, and it may or may not work, right? Like that's the beauty of this. Sure, you're still going to be in shape, but you're trying to fine tune, like, how do you hit your individual peak?
Right.
That's going to be.
Now, 2 weeks ago, I actually had pictures from my back. I had done back workouts at the same time, and I pulled pictures. It was exactly 13 weeks before the show, and I was 13 weeks before this current show. So exactly the same span until the show. And I'm about the same leanness as I was then and 10 pounds heavier. I mean, we know we put on some mass. I know that. I wasn't expecting 10 pounds. Now, whether that's true or not, who knows? I guess we'll find out around August 2nd, August 1st when I check into this show. But,
how tall are you, Mike?
5'7", although when I was measured, I was 5'6".
Oh, that's squatting.
Yeah, right. And that's the other thing too, is when I screwed my shoulder up the week before Easter, when I have a pinched nerve in my neck. I've had it for 10 years. I aggravated it. So it's been bothering me since the week before Christmas. I have no grip in my left hand. So like trying to pick up a heavier dumbbell today, I damn near dropped it on my chest. So I had to lower the weight. So that was super frustrating because I could handle the weight. I just had no grip. Wow. And I can still feel it in my shoulder. The chiropractor worked on it last week. And a little frustrating, but we're gonna push through. But I can't let it get in my head. That's the problem. Is I didn't realize I was as much of a control freak until today. And it's like, it's all that shit you can't control, I mean, I'm taking my blood pressure medicine, so it's not like I'm missing my medicine. And I will say, anyone that's ever dealt with blood pressure, I felt a whole lot worse with low blood pressure than high blood pressure, which was a surprise. I had no clue. Now, mind you, it was, I won't say severely low, but 98 over 55 is low.
Yep.
Let's face it, that's low.
So what was the feeling? Like, what did you feel, like lightheaded or dizzy or?
I like doing every set. I didn't feel like I was going to pass out. Passing out is one of the symptoms of low blood pressure, but I definitely felt funky. Didn't quite see stars, but it was just a weird feeling, and it was after every set. And then when I got home from the gym, it's like, what the hell is going on? And I took my blood pressure, and after the workout, it was 98 over 55.
When you figured it'd probably be elevated from the workout and everything else.
Exactly.
It's got to be the interaction with that blood pressure medicine does weird stuff. That's what
Yeah. And I quit taking any pre-workout stuff for vasodilation because I figured that could be contributing to it, which would make sense. Except for, I guess the only thing I've taken now is creatine with my amino acids.
I can't see that lowering blood pressure though.
What's
I can't see creatine lowering blood pressure.
No, creatine, I don't think will, but vasodilators will.
Yeah, because it just opens up the blood vessels. But
yeah.
But again, maybe the dosage needs to be adjusted, but obviously it's good that you got an appointment coming up soon.
Yeah, and it could be. And of course, they're going to do another echocardiogram and check everything out that way too. It's mentally challenging, put it that way. I taught my grandson a new word today. 4 letters long, starts with F. They came in while I was in the basement, and I tripped over a dumbbell. And I came upstairs. He says, "I heard you, Pops." It's like, oh. Great. Yeah, my daughter's like, "Yeah, we heard it. We heard a dumbbell, and then we heard a certain word."
Got to learn somehow,
right?
But yeah, I mean, that's frustrating for sure. And where there's so many pieces in this equation, it's hard to pinpoint what it is because obviously you're on different medication for this. And
one thing you pointed out last year too, as I'm getting closer and closer to the meet and the show, and we're cutting carbs. That doesn't mean we're going to try to progressively overload and add mass. We need to dial it back a bit and just do the workout and not try to push it. I think maybe that's where I'm to the point now, where I maybe need to pull back a little bit on the weights, so I'm getting good form and all of that, and not trying to add.
But that's a great point that you brought up there. I just want to share this for the benefit of everybody. Like, as you're going through a fat loss program, like in the early phases, especially if it's a new diet, new training, you're making better choices and stuff, you can very often increase your strength and drop body fat at the same time. So you're literally gaining muscle, losing fat. And if you've noticed that, like, for example, like Andy, are you still getting stronger in the gym even though you're dropping weight?
It's kind of plateaued. I've been trying to overload it a bit, but it's been a struggle. Yeah, okay. It's hard to get there.
Which that's fine, but I mean, it's not going down. Is it like the weights are kind of staying the same?
It's kind of staying the same.
All right. So that's still a win, right? Your body weight is going down and you're maintaining your strength. That's still good. In the early phases, you very often can increase your strength and lower your body weight. So it's literally like progress all around. That's awesome. I mean, ride that wave of momentum for what it's worth. As you start to get further along in your fat loss journey, it's going to level off, meaning like, okay, the weight's coming down, but my strength's not really going up, right? It's going to kind of plateau. That's where you're at now. As you get further along, you get leaner and leaner. Then it's actually going to start like the weight is coming down, the fat's coming off, and now my strength is starting to drop. Like I just don't have the strength and energy. And what I'd find, like especially when I was competing in bodybuilding, usually up until about 2 months before a show. Well, actually, let me backtrack. So when in my off season on the seafood bulk, like seafood, eat food, just eating everything and anything and lifting heavy, eating big and lifting big. Okay, that's when I felt my strongest. When I made my initial, okay, I'm going on a diet, first step is I'd clean out all the crap that I knew I shouldn't be eating. That was first month. And then I'd start going from that to more structured dieting where, okay, I'm actually tracking calories and macros and going to have a progressive, fat loss program. In that transition, I would probably drop a little bit of weight in terms of my strength weight, like my lifting weights would go down. Then it would stabilize. Once I got into my new eating routine, my strength would stabilize. And sometimes it would actually even start to build again. Like as I was training into the competition because I was motivated, and on a structured eating plan now. So it actually probably start to build a little bit of strength. And then about 2 months out from the competition, in that range, I'd find that I'm plateauing, kind of like what Andy mentioned there. The weight's still coming down, body weight, but the strength is kind of leveling off. And then the closer I get to the show, it's just the strength is just going down and down and down. And then it'd be more and more of a challenge to I'd have to rely on willpower and more caffeine and everything else to get through the workouts. I mean, I didn't stop the workouts. I'd still grind through them through grit and determination, but the strength wasn't there. And so I'd have to lighten up the loads or I'd do easier variations. I say, you know what? There's no way I'm doing barbell squats today. We're going to do hack squats or we're going to do leg presses or we're going to do another variation to still work the same muscle, but I just can't do the heavy lifting because I just don't have it in the tank. And that would apply not only for strength training, but even for cardio. Because I know when I did my last bodybuilding show, or the Masters show, the last month before the competition, I actually had to stop riding my bike. Because I mean, I was trying to ride and put out power output and ride aggressively like I tried to do. And I just I don't have it in me. And it was getting really frustrating because I was like, I just can't put out the power and get the speed and stuff. So I just did all low intensity cardio, like either cardio machines at the gym, just walking, stuff like that, because the bike riding was taking too much out of me. It was literally just draining the battery. But the crazy thing is, I looked great, lean, defined, vascularity, but I felt like shit. Right? So bodybuilding's the most weird sport in that way because, yeah, when you see guys who look amazing, they're very often their strength and energy are very low. Now, there's a few unicorns out there who can maintain high strength and have really good definition and stuff, but most people, I'm talking 90% of people or more, the leaner you get, the worse you feel. Once you're in bodybuilding competition lean, right? Like, you're getting well into the single digit body fat percentage. The leaner you get from that point on, the weaker you are, the worse you feel. So that's a very common thing. So
that's interesting with me because my muscles are physically getting larger, but the strength is staying the same. I don't know if that's just because of the deficit I'm at right now. So I don't know if when I get lower in body weight and I want to start putting on mass, then it would increase my calorie intake.
Where you're in a deficit now, like you are losing weight, so obviously you're in a calorie deficit.
Yeah.
If you were to bring that up to maintenance, even for a few weeks, so the point where your weight loss plateaus, so you're no longer in a deficit, you're in a maintenance, you would actually feel stronger within a couple weeks. Like it would top up your glycogen stores, and you would feel stronger. But of course, then the weight loss stops. So it's always this balancing act. Like, what's more important now? Is getting that body fat off most important, or is increasing your strength more important? And that's why we go through like phases, like the whole muscle after 40. I have it in a 3-phase system. Phase 1 is the metabolic reboot, where we just focus on eating better, training better, developing the habits, right? That's phase 1. Once we go to the phase 2, fat loss accelerator, then we're going to prioritize fat loss, which is basically what you're doing now. You're prioritizing fat loss. Once you're as lean as you want to be, like, okay, maybe you got visible abdominal definition or whatever it happens to be. You're like, I don't care about getting any leaner. I'm as lean as I want to be right now. Then we can switch gears and bring your calories up a bit and focusing on using that extra energy that you're eating to go towards your training. So now you're feeling stronger in the gym. You're no longer in a deficit. You're either in a maintenance or maybe a very slight surplus. So then you can train heavier and then use that extra energy to perform better. And that's a fun phase because most adults have never ever considered fitness without the goal of losing weight. Like if you talk to someone in their 40s or older, and if they mention going to the gym or exercise or anything like that, it's always, I got to lose weight. You never hear them say, hey, I want to get bigger and stronger and faster and like, like an athlete. Now, when you're talking to younger people, if they're involved with sports, maybe they want to focus on their athletic performance, but most adults are not at that stage. But it's a really cool thing to do once you're in that phase to focus on, I don't need to lose weight anymore. I'm happy with how lean I am. Now I can focus on building the body stronger, increasing my strength, increasing my athletic performance, increasing my endurance, or whatever it happens to be. That's a fun thing.
I can't wait for that phase because I was just thinking the other day, like, what do you like? I don't know what the best weight for my body type is. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, when should I start trying to put on the lean muscle and kind of get jacked?
And that's going to be unique for everybody. But you'll know, like when it gets to the point where it's not, the juice is not worth the squeeze when it comes to losing more body fat. When it's, you're dieting, you're getting leaner, but it's like, it's not worth it anymore. Either, you're not seeing the results. Now, again, that depends on where you're going. Like when it comes to a bodybuilder, like Mike getting ready for a bodybuilding show, the goal for bodybuilders is like 0 body fat. Like that's what they're striving for. They're striving for like absolutely 0 fat. I mean, the term that's used in competitive bodybuilding is you want dick skin. I don't know if you've heard that term, but you know how thin the skin is on that gentleman part? That's what you want that skin to be, that thin all over. Like there's no fat underneath the skin, right? Like it's dick skin thin, right? All over. So they're just trying to be shredded, absolutely like 0 fat. Now, some people get pretty close to that, but that's the goal, right? Like no body fat whatsoever. For the average person, that's probably too extreme. What's the point of having that? Like maybe for the average person, hey, if I could get down to 10% body fat or 15% body fat or whatever, like that's as lean as I need to be. I don't need to be shredded and feel the deprivation and everything else that goes along with that. I just want to be comfortable in my own skin. Once they're at that phase, then we can focus on eating a little bit more and training harder and feeling the body actually getting stronger. Sometimes you got to go too far to know how far enough is. Like Jeff Samatero is a great example of that, because I think we discussed this in one of our recent podcasts where at first when he started his fat loss journey, he just wanted to get as lean as he could. And he did that. I mean, he dieted down to the point where he was depleted and it's like, it's not worth it anymore. Like, what am I doing this for? Like, yes, I look good. Yes, I got 6-pack abs and defined, but he's feeling hungry. He's feeling weak. He's feeling irritable. Like he's all the symptoms of being super lean. It's got to the point where it's not worth it anymore. So we started to eat a little more, put on an extra 5 pounds or so, like not like literally less than 10 pounds total. I think he peaked out for him was around 169 or something like that. That was his leanest. Now he's around between 175 to 180. And that's where he feels better. He feels stronger. Not quite as shredded, but still lean enough. He can see his abs. You know, he can go to the beach and take his shirt off and be comfortable, but he feels so much better, and he's able to have that flexibility where it doesn't feel like he's on a diet. You'll find that that's going to be individual for everybody, right?
So that was my question is, when I've been at this weight before and got in shape, you can see my abs. Well, I can't quite, I'm so close, but not really. But I'm at the same weight now. But I also know that at my age, I want my heart. I don't do much cardio like I used to either. I'm walking, but I'm just trying to figure out, should I bump up my calories and do more cardio rather than just stay in this deficit and kind of fight it and I've been kind of in a maintenance back and forth, even though I know I'm getting better. It's slower. I just didn't know if, because I know what it means to be like, yeah, no energy, you know, you got abs, but feel like crap. And it's cool to see the veins on it, but I just want to see the little six pack. That's it. But I don't know at what point you load up, like, or is it just the ratio, 2 carbs to 1 protein, get enough protein? You know, I don't know what the formula is yet a little bit. If I should just kind of keep bumping up my calories a little bit and then maybe do a little more cardio. I want general health. But I was trying to look at Mike's numbers and figure out, well, if I extrapolated that up to my height, you know, how would I do that to kind of see where I should be weight wise? But, you know, I can't figure it out anyway.
Yeah, those calculations they're an estimate at best. You can't really extrapolate it, but one way you can do this, Scott, is you can literally adjust your caloric intake based on your daily activity. So like if you're doing a lower activity day, and when I say lower activity, maybe it's a weight training workout and a walk or something like that, keep a baseline calorie intake. But if you're going to do a big activity day, like you're going to go for a big bike ride or something like that, where you know the calories are going to be way higher,
Right.
or for those days. Like prime example, yesterday I did a 100-kilometer bike ride. According to my Strava, it says I think it was 2,700 calories on that ride. Again, this is an estimate as well. Like I take this with a grain of salt, but obviously I did burn. Yes, it came exactly 2,704 calories apparently that I burned. So I can't just rely on my normal daily intake. Like I have to eat more to compensate for that. Right. So I did. I ate more right during that ride. Like I had carb powder mixed in with my water bottles. I ate Cliff bars during the ride. And I even stopped into a gas station and I had an apple flip. Right? So when I needed to get more water, I filled up my water bottles and they had some fresh apple flips on the counter. And I said, they look good and I deserve that. So I had an apple flip.
I've been down the endurance road for so many years, and now I'm trying to like do more. At some point, get more explosive power. I don't know if this body can change to that degree, but I'm like, if I do more interval, like I don't even run right now. I'm afraid because of my joints from running too much in the past. So, but I am thinking about sprint cycles, maybe just doing like 6 to 10 mile rides, nothing super long, and work on intensity. But I'm trying to think of ways to bump up the cardio, and at the same time, is that enough to increase my carbs or to increase my calorie intake? Or is there some calculation to figure that out? Or
you could try and calculate it out, but it really, the big one is looking at how your body weight is responding, like keeping track of that.
okay,
If your weight is staying the same, obviously you're averaging a maintenance. You know, if
right.
your weight is going up, then it's a surplus. If it's going down,
Well, I keep measuring my stomach is what I'm trying to do, and that thing is just making me frustrated. It's just a little pooch. That's it. Everything else, I'm pretty happy. I'd like to be a little bit bigger, but I don't want that stomach to get any bigger either. Like if I pull my shorts down, there's that. It looks like I had surgery or something. You know, there's that plop. It kind of goes all around, and that used to go away. It doesn't go away anymore, based on what I'm doing now. So that's just a warning to anyone that's younger than me.
we have a plooch that's going to plop.
Well, don't do all those crazy transformation up, down, 'cause I think that's what did it to me.
You know, that's something that you could look into, like if on the days when you know you're burning more, or even when you're doing really higher intensity and you know you're breaking your body down more, then you can eat more to fuel for that. Like I'll give you an example. Like a couple weeks ago, I did a time trial race. Now, it wasn't a long race. It was a 10-mile time trial. So like the duration is very short, but it was max effort. And like I was drained afterwards. And even though like according to my bike computer said I burned 500 calories during that race, I ate more because I put a lot of stress on the body because it was a max effort. Right. So sometimes even though the calorie burn isn't huge, I still wanted to make sure that I was nourishing the body to compensate for that, because the recovery and the fatigue is more compounded from those high intensity efforts than if you're just doing a longer low intensity effort. But I mean, this is good stuff. I mean, I like these real world conversations because this is the challenge, right? It's not just here's your calories, here's your macros, here's your sets and reps. Like it's all these little intricate details that we got to unpack, right? This is the challenge for sure. And one that I was like we did touch on, I know Mike Mozak's email that he sent me. One that I wanted to touch on though, the workouts. Personally, I found what works for me at this stage of the game is having more frequent sessions and less volume per session. So I don't go in there and do chest day, leg day, back day, arm day. Now again, I'm not knocking that. I've done it for years and it certainly can work. Right? That's a pet peeve of mine too. When you go, if we're on social media or in the YouTube comments and stuff, some people they're so dogmatic saying, "Oh, bro splits suck. You got to do, whatever their split," and then someone else says, "Oh, full body workouts suck, right? You got to do a body part split." Like it all works, right? Like we got to look at the bigger picture. It all works. Is what's ideal for you at this stage of the game and your fitness goals. Like when I was training for bodybuilding and I was in the gym every day, like you had to fight me to take a day off. Not not like most people where you got to fight them to get into the gym. You had to fight to get me out of the gym, right? So I could get away with a body part split because that allowed me to go in there and at least train every day or most days, but I'm doing different muscle groups each day. So I got it done. Now I'm in the gym 3 days a week most. I mean, in the summertime, especially where I'm doing a lot more bike riding, I might be only in the gym twice a week. Right. So now I want to do total body workout. So at least every time I go to the gym, I'm getting a little bit of stimulation for all my major muscle groups. How often you're going to the gym determines what kind of split you follow. Like if I did a bro split, like chest, back, legs, whatever, and I'm only going to the gym twice a week, Christ, it'd take me a month to hit all my major muscle groups, right? So by doing a total body, at least I'm hitting all the major muscle groups more frequently.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that too. It's the only problem I have with the upper lower is I like the split, but I don't know if I want to do legs twice a week. I don't know if I want to be squatting twice a week, right? So it's the full body is perfect, but they're long, right? To get every body part. And I'm not opposed to that. 3 days in the gym is better than 4, especially with summer. I think you do more stuff outside.
The thing you got to realize too is like, even though it's total body, it doesn't mean like you have to do every exercise. Like, for example, when it comes to legs, I'm not always doing squats. Like, one total body workout, it may be squats or leg presses or something like that. Another total body workout, it might be just superset and leg extensions and leg curls. Like that could be the leg exercise. Same with like some days it might be doing some sort of chest press or a bench press. Another workout, it might be just doing chest flies or cable crossovers. So you can kind of mix and match your compound exercises and your isolation exercises within that. And very often how I'll do it is based on how I'm feeling. Like I'm kind of intuitive with my body now. Like if I'm feeling strong and full of energy, okay, yeah, I'm going to do the heavy compound lifts. If I'm feeling tired and exhausted, I didn't sleep well, this is going to be a machine workout or more isolation work. I'm still going to work the muscles, but I'm not going to stress the body and then of course stress the mind over I didn't bench press as much today as I did last day. And right. So I'm not even going to go near the bench press. I'm going to do, flies or pec deck or push-ups or something else, right? I'm going to do an easier variation. Another thing too, like even when you are on and you're in a good rhythm, you find that you can't do the big exercises back to back. Like I'm just thinking, like back in my heyday of bodybuilding, when I was really at my strongest and at my biggest, I even had to alternate squats and deadlifts. Like I couldn't do squats and deadlifts in the same week after week after week, because I found it was just destroying my back. So one week I'm going to do squats, and then for my back exercises, I'm going to do some sort of chest supported rows or other exercises that are not going to destroy my back. Then the next week I would alternate it. Okay, I'm going to do deadlifts, and then instead of squats, I'm going to do leg presses or something where my back is supported. And I find alternating the squats and the deadlifts week for week allowed me to still train those exercises, but I couldn't do them both in the same week. Because once I got to the point where I'm lifting so heavy, it was just destroying me, right? And I was like plateaued at those weights. But when I broke it up that way, alternate them week for week for week, I actually was starting to make progress again. So, you got to factor that in with your workouts too. Because a lot of times people think a total body workout means you got to do, I'm going to do 20 sets per body part, every body part. It's like, no. You can pick and choose what you do. And then the nice thing is the next total body workout, you can choose different exercises.
But you can do it all in under an hour. Like you can have a good total body workout in.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And again, you can change it up, right? Like I would recommend keeping records of your workouts. Like this is when I'm working with people in the gym, very often we do total body workouts for a lot of my in-person students, and I keep records of them all. And so like we'll go through it and say, okay, hey, we haven't done this particular exercise for a few weeks, and I'll say, well, this is what we did when we did it last. Let's see if we can better that this time around, get an extra rep or an extra 5 pounds. So as we're cycling through the exercises, we're always trying to beat what we did the previous time through. And very often we're finishing off the workouts with personal records, especially when someone's within their first couple of years of training. And that keeps them excited, because they always feel like they're winning. They're beating the weights versus going in there and stuck in a plateau. I didn't increase the weight this time around. But again, how you split it up, right? If that was the question, like say you don't have to do the big heavy exercises multiple times a week. If you're doing like an upper lower, right? One could be a heavy upper workout and then a heavy lower workout. Then it could be a light upper and then a light lower. And how you could, what is heavy and light, one could be like free weight compound exercises. The other one could be like machine isolation exercises. Maybe that's how you split it up. And it was not going to drain you. And even based on your energy levels, like if you just go into the gym, even if it's supposed to be a heavy compound free weight workout, like squats and bench presses and all that, if you're like, man, I feel exhausted today, do the easy variation, right? I'm going to do the lighter machine exercises. I'm still going to get a workout in, but I'm not going to push it so hard. And then when you are feeling strong, push it.
I think what I'll do maybe is I'll book a call with you and we can.
Yeah, but I just want to kind of like lay this out with you. I mean, I know there's a lot of variables here to go into more detail, but just kind of give you the bigger picture perspective, right?
Yeah, I also want to get stronger on a bunch of the lifts too. So, and I know full body is probably easier to do it that way than doing the splits. So,
what are some of the key exercises you want to prioritize?
well, I want to get stronger on bench for sure, squat, because I don't squat a lot. I don't bench a lot. So, I kind of want to get up to do your body weight for a bench press and that type of stuff, right?
Sure.
So I kind of want to get to those numbers and go from there.
Some of the stuff that Derek, I know Derek left, he was here on our call earlier. Some of the heavy partial work that he's doing now from the Return to Prime program that we were talking about earlier, that's a great way to help bust through strength plateaus. Like I've used that with some of my in-person coaching students in the gym, like doing power rack lockout work. And it's a really good way to bust past that plateau and to strengthen the joints, tendons, and ligaments to handling heavier weight. Like prime example, like one of my students that I'm working with, he's full range of motion bench press. It's in the 200-pound range. Like he can probably do 200 for for sets of 5. But when it came to the partial lockouts, where we're just doing like the top, setting it in the power rack on the safety pins, and he's only pressing probably the top 3 or 4 inches. I think last workout we worked up to 350 pounds. So he's overloading and feeling 350 pounds in his hands, and his joints, tendons, and ligaments are supporting 350 pounds. So it helps to bridge the gap, because then when he does 200 pounds, which he can do for a full range, subconsciously that feels light because he's used to holding 300 plus pounds. So it helps to bridge the gap. And powerlifters do this all the time. Like they'll handle in a partial range of motion what they can, way more than they can do in a full range, just so they condition the joints, tendons, and ligaments, and also condition the body to what it feels like to handle heavy weight. Like sometimes you'll see powerlifters with their squat, for example, just do heavy walkouts. So they're literally just on rack, 100 pounds more than they can squat, and just walk out with it. Just feel that weight on their back, and then walk it back in and rack it again. Just get used to walking out and walking back with that weight. So then when they walk out with the weight that they can actually lift, subconsciously it feels light, right? And it makes it a lot easier for them. So there's a lot of these strategies that can help to bridge that gap and increase your confidence, as well as actually increasing your strength as well.
Yeah, I was wondering like something like starting strength and 5-3-1, but can you lose weight doing that though too? Like that's kind of where I'm at. That crux is like, I want to get stronger, but I also want to lose the belly fat. So do you have to sacrifice one for the other, right? It's
there is a bit of compromise for sure. Like if you're eating big and lifting big, it's a lot easier to get stronger. Yeah. The problem there is when you're eating in a deficit and you're still training big. I mean, I'm not saying you can't make strength gains, but they're going to be limited, right? You're not going to maximize them. There's going to be some compromise. But what when it comes to the actual fat loss, it's the diet and of course cardio as well. Like, because cardio can help supplement that fat burning, but at the end of the day, it's the diet, right? If you're in a deficit, you're going to lose body fat, right? Regardless if you're doing a powerlifting program or you're doing a bodybuilding program or a CrossFit program or a kettlebell program. Like if you're in a deficit, you're going to lose fat. If you're in a surplus, you're going to gain. Because you'll even see weight class powerlifters, like they will cut to make a weight class, but they're still trying to maximize their strength at that weight. So they're still doing their powerlifting programs, heavy low rep work, but just doing so in a calorie deficit. So you can, and they're not overdoing cardio because they want to save all their recovery energy for their powerlifting workouts. That's where it really, you got to customize it to the individual and what you want to focus on, like right now at this stage of the game, versus just following following what the next guru was saying. Because it might be great advice for one person, not necessarily you.
Roger joined in the call here, Lee.
Yes. Hey, Roger, how's it going?
Hey, how you doing? I'm sorry I was a little late, but I've been listening.
That's good. How are things going on your end with your workouts over the last little while?
Yeah, so last week was a really big challenge for me. I had a week-long audit. So I was in the office pretty much 12 hours a day with the auditor. So needless to say, the last thing I wanted to do was to go to the gym, right? I pretty much took the week off for the gym, unfortunately. So I didn't go to the gym last week. But I was able to stay pretty good on my nutrition. I avoided the donuts that they were bringing in, and I brought some bananas from home. And then when I felt hungry, I opened a can of tuna and just went to the break room real fast and ate the tuna. So I think I did pretty good. My nutrition, the exercising was non-existent, but I did walk about 12,000 steps every day. So at least I stayed active. I wasn't just sitting on the desk. But I feel good. Definitely looking forward to getting back on track this week. So going back to 4 days, going to the gym, and
I appreciate you for sharing that. And I'm going to chalk that up as a win, because first off, you were under a stressful situation, like getting audited. is not fun by any stretch
No,
of
it's not.
the imagination. And you made the best of nutrition choices. Okay, you're 12 hours a day. That's going to drain your energy. And I mean, from the point of view, but you didn't give in to the crap eating. And if you're willing to go into the break room and crack open a can of tuna and eat it, you know you're legitimately hungry. That's not cravings. Like that's legitimate hunger, right?
Yeah.
I always like to use this one, especially with my son Harvey, because like sometimes we're eating dinner and whatever, like you got your meat and your veggies and you know your meat and potatoes and veggie meal there, and after a while he'll eat and say, I'm full, I don't want to eat anymore. I said, okay, that's fine. And he says, but can I have some dessert or can I have some cookies? And I said, wait a minute now, you just told me you're full. He says, yeah, I'm full of that. He says, I'm not full of cookies. Right? So you got to learn the true definition of hunger versus craving. So if someone's willing to eat a can of tuna, that's hunger. Like, do not deny that. That is legitimate hunger. Right?
Yeah.
But the cookies, if you say, I won't eat a can of tuna, but my God, those cookies look delicious, or that bag of chips looks delicious. That's
Yeah.
hunger and craving, right?
But it was funny because the whole, doing the precision nutrition, and this week was actually take the week off, so do whatever you want. So it was perfect.
Well,
Good timing.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I didn't feel guilty. The precision nutrition telling me you gotta go to the gym, you gotta go to the gym, but it was just take the week off, take it easy, take a break. We're halfway through it, so it was good. It was good timing.
The stars aligned for you there. Even though
Yeah.
I don't think getting audited is what you would want to do on a week off now. But, it's not like, oh, let's plan a vacation to get audited.
Yeah. It was brutal, but we did good. Everything went well. So my question is, when I go back to the gym, should I try to lift what I was lifting 2 weeks ago, or is
Play it
that
by ear. I mean, it's a week off, so you're probably not going to really lose much in the way of strength after a week. I mean, who knows? You may actually go back feeling stronger, right? So just, I mean, go through the whole warm up routine ritual and just play it by ear. If you're feeling strong, then hey, lift what you did before. But if you're going in there, it's like, man, this ain't the day. I'm not feeling it. Then it's no shame, and if you have to lighten it up a little bit, and that applies with any workout, like not just whether you took a week off or not. Like every time I go into the gym, I don't really have expectations. I'm in the moment. Like if I'm feeling good, I'm feeling strong, okay, I will push myself. If I'm not, that's fine. I'm not going to push myself. Right?
Yeah, but I did share a couple of weeks ago something with you that I want to share with the group is that I went shopping for some blue jeans and I went a size down. I was like, yes. So I went from 32 to 30. I'm wearing size 30 now. So I'm excited about that. Appreciate it.
That's a huge win, right? That
Yeah.
is everything.
Congratulations.
Andy, you went down size in jeans too, didn't you?
Oh my gosh. So I bought these jeans and I was putting the lights in my gym yesterday and the wife was like, these jeans are on your hips. Like they're literally falling off. I'm like, these are my newest jeans. So I got to go spend more money on jeans, it's really fun. Well, jeans should last at least a year. These ones haven't even lasted 6 months.
You guys are going to be like all the young people going around with their jeans halfway down their ass and their underwear going. I don't know where that trend happened, but maybe it's a bunch of people losing weight. I don't know.
I need to get some nicer boxers though.
That's it. New jeans or new underwear.
I'm gonna try a pair of 34s here, hopefully next week here.
Oh,
so haven't wore those since I was like 12 or 13.
That's huge, guys. Congrats on that. That certainly solidifies it. Now, the thing is we want to gradually work into the smaller clothes and not doing the bodybuilder thing. Like this was me when I was competing in bodybuilding. I had my contest prep clothes and then I had my off-season clothes because I would diet down, fit into the skinny jeans, if you will, and then I'd fatten back up again and get into the right. Oh, hang on, guys. Where are those? Where's those 38s? Right? Oh, they're in there somewhere. Right? Yeah. So you don't want to be you want to move in the right direction, not go back. Right. I always had the rebound weight gain afterwards that canceled it out. So I always hung on to my big boy clothes, if you will.
Yeah, I have no choice. My wife took all my fat clothes to the Goodwill, so I don't have any fat
Yeah.
clothes anymore.
The bridge is burned. There's no going back.
I used to keep them as long as possible when I wore a belt, but now I guess wearing a belt's not in style as much. But it was pretty fun to latch those babies up, and it's amazing how long you go before you buy something new. Because man, clothes is not cheap anymore.
I still wear a belt. I guess my fashion sense is out the window. But another thing, like the belt, and how many notches could you put into that belt? Like I've had some that were butchered. I mean, because I'd get like a pointy screwdriver and I'd wedge another hole into that belt.
Oh yeah.
And then finally, when it looked like something that the dog was chewing on, I said, I better get a new belt.
Especially when the belt's wrapping around your waist, all the way around, like.
It's time to buy a new belt then.
Yeah. But that was all wins. I mean, I used to love it. Like, this belt is in the smallest hole and it's still too loose, right? I'm going out to the garage and getting the screwdriver and I'm jamming another hole in that sucker. Right. Anyway, guys, this was a great call. I mean, I had a good turnout and some good wins across the board. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of the Total Fitness Bodybuilding Podcast. And if you did, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already done so. And if you would like to learn more about the Muscle After 40 Blueprint program, then down in the show notes below this podcast, just open up the show notes below, you'll see a link where you can download a free copy of the Muscle After 40 PDF brochure. And this outlines the entire system, outlines our 3-phase system that we use to achieve a lean body recomposition while enjoying your life in the process. And this is the same system that I've used to achieve my body transformation, how I've got fit over 40. And it's the same system that I teach my personal coaching students who've made incredible transformations. I mean, some guys have lost over 100 pounds. Some guys have built lean muscle. Some guys have went on to compete in bodybuilding competitions and other athletic events. So it is a foundational program that utilizes a proven step-by-step action plan to help you build muscle, lose body fat, improve your health and fitness, and do so while enjoying your life in the process. And if that's something you're interested in, then again, pop open the description below in the show notes and download a free copy of the Muscle After 40 Blueprint PDF. All right, have yourself a good one, and I look forward to talking to you in our next podcast. Take care, over and out.